Why do people cheat in relationships? People will cheat even if they are satisfied by their partners. They don't want to break up. Why have one cake when you can have two? In a similar sense, some people get off on the forbidden nature of an affair and doing something you shouldn't, as well as the thrill of getting away with it. People can be assholes and have low empathy. I'll put in my 2 cents. I think the people that do cheat are fulfilled by the short-term passion that comes with the initial stage of a relationship. I think when the initial infatuation stage is over, they want to move on to something else. I also think they like the security of being with someone. Like if things fall apart, then they have someone to help emotionally. The shortest answer is that humans are worse and more self-centered than we imagine. There are also far fewer emotional adults than you'd think. So imagine a bunch of teenagers who want what they want and you'll be closer to the answer. In long-term relationships, cowardice is often the reason. It takes balls to leave a long relationship you are unhappy in, but weakness to give in to desires. Sometimes you get love and companionship from your partner but zero physical intimacy and sex. So you don't want to lose the first but are tempted by someone who looks at you and seems attracted to you in a way your partner doesn't. Sometimes you have kids, a mortgage and debt and just can't afford a divorce, but your relationship sucks. There are many reasons. I'm not saying it's okay to do it, but everyone lives a different life and might have different reasons. If you don't understand it, probably it's because you're too young or inexperienced. Not necessarily because you're a better person than the rest. I'd say because the person they are with doesn't give them everything they want. Plus they think it's okay to cheat if they aren't getting everything they want. This is a more complicated topic than people seem to like. It's easy to jump to the conclusion that everyone who cheats is just a puss. Is cheating wrong? Of course. But a lot of times it's not someone just giving in to some primal urge. Despite all the harsh replies, I'll try to give the high level to my situation and why I cheated. I grew up in an incredibly conservative Christian household that's relevant because divorce in that case feels like an impossibility. I was with my husband for 11 years. He was verbally abusive right from the start, but I had seen worse. That became worse over the years. He pushed the line of physical assault, but never crossed the line into physical abuse. I could deal with that as well, right? None of that seemed worse than getting a divorce and potentially losing the community I was raised in, including my family. My whole marriage I was emotionally alone. I told myself for years that others had it much worse. When I had my son, I couldn't keep the wool over my eyes anymore. I was very clearly living as a single mom. But worse. I played a game online and made some friends on there. One person became my lifeline. More or less. I ended up emotionally cheating on my husband. I never crossed the physical line in person, but it definitely crossed many others. The friendship wasn't wrong, until it was. I think back and wonder if I could have done things any differently. But I really wasn't a strong enough person at the time. Should I have been strong enough to just end the relationship? Sure. I wish I was. I'm not making excuses for it. I guess all I'm saying is, cheating isn't always someone just being selfish. Sometimes it's broken people who feel like they're alone and can't get out. I know a couple people in the same situation I was in. I try to listen to people with compassion first and hold off on judgment until I hear the whole story. I feel like there's no right or wrong answer, and it'll vary depending on the circumstances. However, I feel like it definitely has to be correlated with a lack of emotional intelligence, maturity, or a lack of empathy. For example, a high degree of insecurity can largely contribute to a person's urge and likeliness to cheat. And these insecurities can manifest themselves in a number of ways. While I was in my last exclusive relationship, I always had the thought of cheating in the back of my mind. However, I never gave in to temptation because I truly loved my partner and I wouldn't have done anything to devastate them emotionally. Granted, I might have some undiagnosed OCD since my intrusive thoughts oftentimes revolved around me being a ticking time bomb of when I'd finally cheat. Ironically, that never happened. In fact, I was the one that got cheated. I wouldn't go into details of my ex-partner, but they were a very attractive person that openly knew that and enjoyed and craved the attention and lust that they frequently received. They were also a very insecure person in my ways despite the facade of strength and confidence they portrayed. They often referred themselves as a bad bitch. I'm not sure if you've gotten cheated on recently, but being cheated on can do a massive amount of damage to you psychologically, especially if you're someone who truly loved the cheat prior to their actions. Like I did. The road to recovery is long, but it's a journey. Get well and much luck to you, my friend. My mate and I have an agreement. We can have sex with other people. We just both need to be there when it happens. And so far, no. Short answer is the ego being unable to accept responsibility without killing itself. Some people for this reason, others for another. Generally they feel bored, unstimulated or unhappy, but for one reason or another too comfortable or scared to break up. When my husband and I were very early into our relationship, he cheated at least 34 times. I found out about all of them over the course of 2 years. I don't have an incredibly profound reason of why I stayed, but I do know what helped. 1. I didn't feel done with him. Does that make sense? Like I definitely felt like he broke my heart and I felt my heart stop and stink to my stomach a few times, but I didn't feel like my love wavered. 2. Not once did he blame me. It wasn't because I wasn't having the kind of sex he wanted to have. It wasn't because I wasn't emotionally available. It wasn't because I did or didn't do anything wrong. What I saw it as was a veil. I knew him enough to know that he was a self-sabotager. He didn't ever expect good things to stay good. It was only a matter of time before it went bad, so enjoy it while you can, but don't really try. That was about 12 years ago. We worked through it without therapy. He still struggles sometimes with his actions from the past. It's like he has these bouts where he can't believe that I trust him. So we have to talk and communicate through it. I still have my moments as well where my heart breaks for 17-19-year-old me. Just this flabbergasting feeling of wondering why she had to go through that and why did her health have to be out at risk just because of someone else's issues. But I'm proud of her. I'm proud of how gracefully she handled things and the boundaries she set and has stuck to. I can't speak for everyone, but for my husband, it was just simply immaturity, selfishness, and a negative outlook on life. I don't think it's always intentional, at least in emotional affairs. I never cheated before, but I'm guessing it starts as gradually investing emotionally in someone else. Maybe even unnoticed at first, frequent contact, telling details about your personal life, then talking about problems in your private life. The other feels soothing, calming, and becomes a refuge. Then the physical part would follow. Sometimes partners don't accept that you've broken up with them and think they can win you back or emotionally manipulate you into staying with them. When you move on, they think you cheated because you would have taken them back. I cheated because even when I tried to get out of my relationship, she wouldn't let me. I thought it was an easy way to blow things up so I could leave. It worked. Now I'm not proud of it and would never do it again, but I found it had a utility for a very toxic situation I found myself in. Because people want a quick dopamine fix but don't want to lose the stability they have in their actual relationship. And they also think they won't get caught because there is something missing. They have sometimes tried to have a conversation and it ends up going nowhere. If kids are involved, they tend to hold on for the kids but check out of the relationship. They then think finding what they're missing elsewhere is better than having the same conversations and discussions which go nowhere and ultimately result in someone being unsatisfied. Usually, but not always, sexually. Insecurity is the primary reason I've seen in the past. Anytime there is a discrepancy between a couple, whether it be money, attractiveness, or whatever else, they are far more likely to end up cheated on. On the attractiveness front, the less attractive person will seek validation, which ends up pushing boundaries until they end up sleeping with someone that gives them a lot of validation or makes them feel attractive. A lot of it stems from the underhanded comments people make about it. He's not good enough for her. Wow, you really outkick your coverage, etc. I've never personally been in that situation, but I watched my best friend's girlfriend, she was the less attractive member of the couple, go through all the stages and even tried to get me to sleep with her. I told him immediately and he went through her phone and found a huge collection of hookup texts that she didn't even attempt to hide. Needless to say, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. When one partner utterly ignores the other mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically, yes, including sexually. Sometimes infidelity can occur when the ignored partner gets so lonely, and the attention from an outsider looks really great. A few minutes browsing our dead bedrooms might give you a few ideas. Not saying it's right, cheat. But if someone isn't feeling emotionally and sexually fulfilled in a relationship, they will look elsewhere. Just go non-monogamy, person shrugging, light skin tone, male sign.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicuricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.